Welcome, welcome. This is another one of those sort of making a tier list just for the sake of tier list type videos. I'm bored. I like making tier lists. I figured I'd record it. This one's going to be for Naruto. So I previously did some Dragon Ball tier lists. I did one on different Saiyan transformations and another one on my rankings for the best Dragon Ball arcs in all of Dragon Ball. This one's going to be for Naruto. This is going to be for parts 1 and 2, but not Boruto. Whenever I talk about Naruto arcs, I tend to break them down a bit more grouped together than they are listed here. Like, the war stuff is broken up quite a bit, but I guess it gives me a chance to kind of look at them a little bit differently. I've watched all of these. So I'm not going to have anything in the haven't watched section. So I'm actually going to delete that. Now keep in mind, it's been maybe 2 years since I last watched Naruto. So just bear in mind there. This is only canon arcs. This is not filler because, to be honest, I skipped like 98% of Naruto's filler because, in my opinion, it's just awful. I'm gonna try and go mostly in order. I might get some of them out of order, but I'm gonna try to go in general order here. So, like, first of all, we'll start with the Land of Waves arc, the very first arc in Naruto. A tier. I think there could be an argument made for S tier. I think it's a very good arc. I don't think I couldn't imagine putting it any lower than A. It's got a few weaknesses, a few weak spots, but yeah, I think as a first arc, it does its job extraordinarily well. The Land of Waves, the fight with Zabuza and the fight with Haku and everything. The climax of that arc in particular had so much emotional weight and was such a great character moment and growth moment for Naruto as a character, and Sasuke had a really great moment in that arc as well as it being a great introduction into this world. I mean, the fight between Kakashi and Zabuza, particularly that first fight, it just goes hard. I don't think any Naruto fan can deny that. It's one of those fights that's just like, oh yeah, Kakashi and Zabuza. I mean, the first time I ever saw episodes of Naruto, I think it might have been like filler. I was really young. I didn't like it. I decided to give it another chance, actually starting from the beginning as it was supposed to be, watch the Land of Waves arc, and was absolutely hooked. So yes, Land of Waves, definitely an A tier arc. After that, I believe would be the Chunin exams. This should come to no surprise. Chunin exams is an S tier arc. I don't know personally anyone who would disagree. Do I think the Chunin exams arc might be overrated in the eyes of some people? Maybe a little. Just a little. Because there are people who act like the Chunin exams arc is the best arc in all of anime. It's not even the best arc in Naruto, in my opinion. But it is extremely good. The fights, particularly Naruto and Neji and Hinata, Lee and Gaara. Of course, we're not going to talk about the Sakura and Ino fight. We're not going to. It's got its weak moments. It does have its extraordinarily weak moments. But even the earlier parts of it with the test and everything, with them checking their ability to gain intel and the forest with the scrolls and everything. The first encounter with Orochimaru, which was bone chilling. I mean, Orochimaru truly used to be a terrifying villain. I don't think anyone would disagree that the Chunin exam arc is S tier. And if they do disagree, I think most people would at least put it in A tier. But for me, it's definitely an S tier arc. The Konoha Crush arc would be right after that. To be fair, I think it's another exceptionally good arc. But I don't know if it's quite good enough to be S tier. Personally, I find the Gaara and Naruto fight to be lacking. Because every time they were on screen, I just kind of wanted to go back to the Orochimaru and Hiruzen fight. I'm going to put it in A tier, but above the Land of Waves. It's not quite good enough to be S tier. You know, I used to conflate these two, Chunin Exams and Konoha Crush. I used to think they were just the same arc. Because, I mean, this one goes right into this one. I mean, you can't even tell it's a different arc. Because literally the Konoha Crush arc interrupts the Chunin Exams. So, a lot of people, I think, would mistake it for the same arc, but I didn't learn until I was older that it is not. What's after the Konoha Crush? Search the quest for Tsunade, right? Where's that at? Search for Tsunade. This one's kind of tough, if I'm being honest. It's definitely not S tier. Not even close. Would I count it A tier? I don't think so. I think it's a B tier arc overall. I think it's the weakest arc in Part 1 Naruto. The Sannin fight in the end is probably its saving grace. You know, that's the best part of the entire arc. Search for Tsunade arc, I think, could be... maybe some people would put it in A tier. Some people may put it lower. And Tsunade is one of my favorite characters, mind you. But that arc, I mean, it's got a lot going for it. Don't get me wrong. Naruto learns the Rasengan, he starts training on Jiraiya, learns the Rasengan. The Sannin fight, of course, the bet between Tsunade and Naruto. It's got things going for it. It's just a little touch and go, if that makes sense. Whereas a lot of the better arcs just have more going for them. So after the search for Tsunade, what would be after that? That would be... I mean, would that be the Sasuke recovery mission? Sasuke recovery arc? Everything else, I think, is from Shippuden. So I'm going to... And if I accidentally skim over one and get the order wrong, that's fine. But Sasuke recovery mission. Okay, here's the thing. I might get a little flack for this. It's A tier, but it's not S tier. I know a lot of people would put the Sasuke recovery mission in S tier. I know they would. Simply for the Naruto and Sasuke fight. But I'm not ranking fights. I'm ranking the arcs. You know, I might do a fight tier list later. As for the arcs, the Sasuke recovery arc, to me, is a little boring in the beginning. The fight with the Sound Ninja, or the fights with the Sound Ninja, I don't care for most of them. The only one I enjoyed was... the only ones I enjoyed was Neji versus, what's the spider guy's name? It's been a while since I've seen it. It's like, is it Kidomaru? Something like that. I can't remember exactly his name, but I did kind of like that fight, and I guess the Kimimaru fight, that fight's okay. Both his fight with Gaara and his fight with Lee. They're okay. But they're not, like, exceptional. Whereas, obviously, the Naruto and Sasuke fight at the end is exceptional. And is the best fight in all of Part 1. One of the best fights in the entire series. But that one fight can't save the arc. Every time I rewatch that arc, I'm just in a hurry to get to the Naruto and Sasuke fight. I want to skip everything else because I just don't care. Which is a shame because narratively, those fights aren't interesting to me, but they are excellent character moments for Shikamaru, for Choji, for Neji, for Kiba. They're all excellent character moments. Really great character growth for those characters in that arc. I just the fights are kind of boring to me. I think after that we go into Shippuden, right? So then, Kazekage rescue mission. This is another one that's just kind of eh. I'll put it in C tier. And I think that's fair. Putting it in C tier. It drags. That, you know, same problems that like the original Frieza arc had, not like the Kai Frieza arc in Dragon Ball Z Kai, but like it has some of the same issues that the original Frieza arc had in the Dragon Ball Z anime. It drags. Naruto and Kakashi are chasing Deidara for what feels like a whole 5 business days. And granted, the Sakura Chio Sasori fight is really good. I wouldn't say it was like top tier, but it's really good. But everything else about it is eh. The fight at the beginning of the arc with Gaara is okay. The revelations about what a Jinchuriki is, you know, narratively it serves a great purpose, setting up the rest of Shippuden. It's a great setup arc for everything that would follow. Introduces new members of the Akatsuki and sort of introduces them as a major threat. Introduces us to the concept of Jinchuriki and what that necessarily means for Naruto, for Gaara. Sets up the Akatsuki's goal with, you know, withdrawing the tailed beasts from their Jinchuriki. Narratively, it's a good setup arc. From the entertainment value, it's kind of eh. And I probably should have said this at the beginning. This is a completely subjective list. If I was doing like a top 10 ranking list and not a tier list like this, it'd probably look different if I was trying to be really objective. But this is based off of my enjoyment and purely my enjoyment of the arcs. Alright, this is where I start to get the order of the arcs a little bit messed up. I think the Tenchi Bridge reconnaissance mission is next. It's an arc of moments, but it's an arc I forget exists. So it's gonna be D tier. I legit forget that arc exists. It's like, and I know it has like the first encounter from Shippuden with Sasuke, with Naruto and Sasuke. Like the first time they find each other again. But I guess mentally I just kind of assume that's like out in the aether of other arcs, and I forget it's a part of this arc. Technically. The fight between Naruto and Orochimaru is pretty cool. You know, I'll give it that. But the arc itself is, if I'm being frank, it's boring as hell. It doesn't even have that many great moments. It's got like a few here and there that's like, oh, that was cool, or oh shit. But it's kind of just a fucking boring arc, if I'm gonna be honest. After this, what arc was after this? I really don't remember what was after this. Was it the Akatsuki suppression mission? I think it had to have been, right? Well, if I get the order wrong, you know, that's fine. If it's the Akatsuki suppression mission, I call it the Shikamaru arc. Some people might not rank it this high. Some people might. I think it could easily be A tier, very easily. As a matter of fact, I would even put it at the very front of A tier, if I'm being completely legit. Personally, I could slip it into S tier. I'm not going to, because I think it has just a few too many weaknesses to quite make the perfection of S tier, but it's like ultra high A tier. It's one of my favorite arcs in the anime, has one of my favorite openings in the anime. and Shikamaru's arc in the story, in that arc, his character progression and growth, unbelievable. It was, I mean, it was an arc that didn't really feature Naruto a whole lot until the end. It was really Shikamaru's arc. And it was excellent. Almost from top to bottom. Minus a few bits here and there. And I didn't know for a long time that the scene with Shikamaru breaking down over Asuma's death with his father, playing the game with his father, was apparently an anime-only scene. I didn't know that was the manga. Because I've only read some of the Naruto manga. That scene is so well animated and so powerful. And I watch most of my anime dubbed. I'd say I watch like 95% of my anime dubbed. And Naruto's voice cast has always been pretty good. And they've got some heavy hitters on there. But they really brought it home in some of those emotional scenes, and that Shikamaru scene was one of them. Really, really fantastic arc. Alright. If I fall out of order here, so be it. I don't remember exactly what takes place when, to be honest. I'm gonna go ahead and rank the Kakashi Gaiden arc, which, to be honest, I thought was very, very, very good. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I thought it was really good. I don't think it was like one of the best arcs in Naruto, but I thought it was really, really good. And again, this may be out of order. I'm gonna go ahead and do the Itachi Shinden arc, book Light and Darkness. I think maybe it was good, but kind of forgetful for me. And Itachi is my favorite character. I put it in C tier, but like high C tier. It is pretty solid. Here's where it gets a little weird. So they have Itachi pursuit mission and fated battle between brothers separated, right? Even though most of that, I would think that's the same arc, right? It's basically the same arc. But if they're going to break it up, I'll rank it broken up. The arc of him just trying to find Itachi, really not that entertaining, I'll be honest. I don't think it was all that great. D tier. The fight itself, straight up S tier. That was a great fight. And, I mean, this will come up again if I decide to do a tier list based on the fights in Naruto. Now, Tale of Jiraiya the Gallant. And by the way, again, Itachi's my favorite character. This is one of my favorite fights. This scene in particular, if you're a Naruto fan, you know what I'm talking about. This scene messed me up. Fucked me up. But enough about that. Tale of Jiraiya the Gallant. This is when he goes to fight the Pains in the Rain Village. Very, very, very good arc. Very good arc. Ultra high A tier. Not quite S tier. Very good arc. Game-changing arc for the narrative. Absolutely game-changing for Naruto as a character. For Jiraiya to die, it changed everything. And began Naruto's growth to being truly what he was meant to be. It sucks for Jiraiya fans, but it was a death that needed to happen for Naruto to grow. And Naruto became a legitimate badass as a result. Pain's assault on the village. The best arc in Naruto. Hands down. In my opinion, one of the best arcs in anime. At least in shonen anime. But hands down, the best arc in Naruto. Pain's assault on the village was perfectly paced. The action was well animated. The characters were well rounded. It gave multiple characters, you know, a little bit of attention during the early stages. It was the turning point for Naruto's power scaling and making him a legitimate badass. It introduced us to some of the powers of the Rinnegan. and it sort of started to torpedo us towards the climax of the story. It top to bottom, Pain's Assault on the Leaf Village, that whole arc is chef's kiss. It's amazing. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. 5 Kage Summit. I think this arc is insanely overrated. I'll be straight up. I think it's a high B tier arc. Some people would put it in A. I don't think it's that great. I'm not that big a fan of the fight with Danzo. It's got some really badass moments, but I'm also not a massive Sasuke fan. It's got some badass moments. It being what begins the war arc is really, really awesome. But, you know, its weak spots are too weak. The fight with Danzo is just kind of eh. It was cool getting to see the other Kage, you know, and getting to know them a little bit. And seeing their interactions with each other was really cool. But the action, I just wasn't feeling it, you know. FSWW countdown. I'm just going to, you know, I guess this is the countdown to the war. I think the build up to it is pretty good. It's got some pretty cool emotional moments in it. Let's say really high B tier. Maybe right below the 5 Kage Summit. It's got some really cool moments in it, but as an arc, I'm kind of just like, come on, I want to get to the war, I want to get to the war, I want to get to the war. And it just kind of drags for a little bit. Next would be the confrontation, right? This is around the time Naruto gets involved in the war. So I would assume this is about the time he gets involved in the war all the way up to... I guess up to the climax. So this is like all the middle bits of the war. So I would say this probably includes the 5 Kage versus Madara and all that stuff. In which case, this was pretty badass. This was a pretty badass arc or part of the war arc. I mean, it's really the one war arc divided into multiple little subparts here. But if I'm ranking it on its own, A tier. High A tier for me. The climax? Okay. The climax. It's very good. It's very good to me. Is it S tier? I think the war arc gets too much hate. Keep in mind, I skip filler. So when I watched Naruto, I know the war arc went on for like 2 years or something like that with filler? Maybe more? But I skipped filler. So it was all one cohesive arc to me by skipping over all the filler episodes. And it flows a lot better like that. I'm a big fan of the war arc. I think a lot of it is really, really good. The fight with Sasuke and Obito, I mean, it's just perfect, you know? But I don't know if it's perfect enough to be S tier. You know, Birth of the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. This, I would assume, stretches all the way up through the Madara stuff, all the way up to Kaguya appearing. In which case, low S tier. I think this stuff is great. Peak action. I think it's truly, truly, truly great. Okay, this. Kaguya Otsutsuki strikes. Things get complicated here. That section of the arc, the Kaguya arc, the end of the war arc, whatever, however you want to divide it. The Kaguya stuff kind of sucked. But it has the final Naruto and Sasuke fight in it, which goes incredibly hard. So I want to be very clear when I get ready to place this. This arc would be in C tier at the bottom of C tier. However, the fact that it has the Naruto and Sasuke fight at the end brings it up to low B tier. That is the only reason. The Kaguya stuff, C tier. The Naruto and Sasuke final fight, B tier. I want to be perfectly clear about that. Okay. We'll do these first. This Shikamaru, I just didn't care. I just did not care at all. The Sasuke stuff, I also mostly didn't care. There was like one or two cool things about it, but I just didn't care. I watched it and was like, I don't care about this crap. Nah, The Perfect Day for a Wedding. I mean, it's really an arc. You know, do we really count this as an arc? I mean, it's great, you know, a boy gets married. I mean, you can't help but be happy for him, you know. D tier? High D tier? I don't know. It's not down here in the I don't really care sections, but it's like, do we really count this as an arc? It's just the end of Naruto. I don't know. But there you have it. My rankings for all of the Naruto arcs, part 1 and part 2. That include, you know, Shippuden. Let me know in the comments if you would change anything about this tier list. And what would you personally change? Also, for anyone who subscribes to my channel for myths, folklore, and anime, I do have some Naruto themed episodes in the works. It just takes me a lot of time to get them together. In the meantime, at the time of this video, you can check out, if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, you can check out the origins of the Kais. I go into the mythology and folklore that inspired the Kais of Dragon Ball. And if you are a Jujutsu Kaisen fan, I have another video, 3 myths that inspired Jujutsu Kaisen. So, if you like Jujutsu Kaisen and you like mythology and folklore, check that video out as well. Thank you guys so much for watching if you did, and if you stuck through to the whole thing, thank you. I'm sorry if you don't agree with some of these placements. I think they're pretty fair. And I think this is probably similar to how most people would rank them, based on Naruto fans that I know personally. But, again, thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe for more anime-based content, and I will see you guys in the next one.